written by Eric Jackson about why he thinks Apple should outbid traditional broadcast TV and cable operators for the NFL suite of Thursday night football games, which is up for bid. Over the past couple of years, that's been, you want to say it's been a pain point for the NFL because, so many people have access to the NFL network. I mean, that's one thorn in the side, or people not willing to, put down their hard-earned money for it. And you think of ways to combat it. How do you get more subscribers? Number one, they got to make the Thursday night game the premier game. That should be your number 2 game of the week. If not number 2, then definitely number 3, because you get your Sunday night game, you get your Monday night game, which is drawing 20 to 25 million viewers weekly. And then you have your Thursday night game, where NFL Network has worked hand in hand with CBS. It's kind of like, I like to say, the work that I do with my pod, where I record the pod. Yes, it's recorded live. Usually it's recorded combo of Happy Hour Network and for 2016, Jamagination Unlimited Network. So between those two networks, it's recorded. Then it's repackaged and it's sent out to our providers. And some of our providers that we were thankful to have every week are like NGSC Sports that powers us on the iHeartRadio app. I-95 Sports, Life Improvement Radio, UNIR1 Radio, FSC Radio. And then you can also find us, whether it's iTunes or SoundCloud, Spreaker. So if you look at it in that aspect, you have that product, and then you farm it out, you spread it out, you syndicate it out. But the article, which is on Forbes, talks about the amount of revenue that could be generated in 5 years for a package like that. Because that, you got Apple TV, they're a big player. But the key to it is, yes, you can have access to, cloud DVR for specific shows. But then you get into the live streaming. That's the hot market. You got the partnerships, but you get into the live streaming, live TV streaming, and you get yourself a package like Thursday Night Football, where, you kind of take the NFL Network off their hands. Not totally, but you're taking that product, you're making it available through Apple TV. And let's say right now, 20 to 25 million people have Apple TVs, regardless of the iteration or various versions of that Apple TV. They could turn around with the marketing plan, or with the there's no bigger engine than Apple when it comes to marketing, and turn around and sell 100 million of those Apple TV devices with the subscription services. They can then turn around and make the Thursday Night Football game the premier game and stream it out to, the folks on the iPhones. And then you look at, what about the market of folks that are Android users, but they want to have access to streaming, viewing that Thursday Night Football game? I mean, the article is so in-depth on the amount of money they can make the stocks, what it would mean to the other players out there. What if Amazon was able to get into that game? I think that right there is a hot ticket, and Goodell knows what he's doing. Because you sit there and say, well, do you make it available to network broadcast TV, or do you go to like a TNT or cable subscriber, or do you make it something exclusive? Kind of like for how many years have we sat around and watched people stand outside on lines prior to the latest, iPhone or iPad or iDevice? I mean, because I tell you, I sit there in my office watching those town hall meetings, and it's very, very interesting. They have the pizzazz to put on a great show. But either way you look at it, it's up for bid. NFL Thursday night ticket is up for bid. We're going to see how this plays out at the end of the season. And, the bottom line is a move like this by Apple gets them into the live streaming sports area, and it would likely cause the Wall Street analysts to have to upgrade their price targets on their stock. So that's kind of the latest with Apple, the NFL, and its network. I think another article or post that we pushed out there today was on how to deal with cyberbullying in teens. I mean, and that was brought to us by our friends at Student Tutor. So, I mean, you got to pose that question. How do we deal with it? Because on so many different occasions, we've talked about cyberbullying. On so many different occasions, we've had experts. I think the expert we had last week was, how do I deal with the situation if my child is being bullied, and what if my child is the bully? Those are the two hot topics we had last week. So, I mean, as we all know, cyberbullying is a real problem in the world today. With the internet, I'm not going to say it became more and more integrated into everyone's lives, and younger students, may not grasp the consequences and even realize what they're doing when they sign into an online account. I mean, you look at cyberbullying statistics, they prove overwhelmingly that cyberbullying is the real issue in the world today. And if your student is on either side of the equation, there's at least a 50% chance they're not telling you. So what do? I mean, the best thing is you have to understand the signs of cyberbullying, whether your kid is the bully or the victim, and taking steps to help them. I mean, it's up to you to help them to change these statistics. And kids who are cyberbullies. I want to say something, important here. If your child is cyberbullying, it's highly likely they do not understand what they're doing. And I'm going to stop right there because that was the conversation I had last week. When I sat with some of the youth about a year ago, I asked the question, have you ever said anything mean to someone online? 3/4 of the room raised their hand. Did you ever say, hey, this person is fat or this person is ugly, and where other people started to pile on? That's cyberbullying right there. The fact that these communications occur in type and online greatly reduces their perceived impact, but kids believe that online statements simply don't count because they're not being said to someone's face. And that's quoted by Elizabeth K. Engler, who's a PhD. Kids will become bullies for a number of reasons, including, they feel worthless, there are problems at home, the bully has been bullied themselves. However, this does not change the effects of cyberbullying, and these can be severe. So, certain signs to look for. What do you see? Do you see your child has a large amount of social media accounts? Do you see that your child is being secretive about their online activity? Do you see that your child spends long hours on social media? I mean, what are you hearing? Are you hearing kind of snide comments or laughter from your child while they're online? Do they gossip or make cruel remarks exchanged to them and their friends about, an individual? Because those are signs. I mean, and what else is there? Is there a group or individual your child spends time with often, behaves mean or uncaring? Is your child has become more judgmental or critical? Is your child maybe more irritable or aggressive? I mean, because they may retaliate against rules. These are just a few things that you have to look at because you want to know what to do. So whether or not your child is cyberbullying, or you should educate them on what it is and why it matters, because cyberbullying is a serious issue. A child found guilty of cyberbullying can face legal charges, not to mention this kid will have to live with the effects of their actions on another person. So here's some tips on how to address the situation. You remove the internet access. Revoke access to all computers in the house except under your supervision. Consider using parental codes or passwords you can enter if they need computer for school purposes. I'm going to stop right here. Something that's not related. So, back in October, I ordered an upgrade for my son, an Xbox One. But guess what? Each and every time he wants to use it, I have to enter a password. Why? Is it a part of overparenting? No, it's a part of a parent who's sitting here to say, okay, I want to manage screen time, because you're not just going to sit here for the next, 24 hours staring away at the screen playing, Call of Duty. Another option is to have your child delete or deactivate all their social media accounts. You got to make sure to explain to your child why you are doing this. Explain that they may have access returned to them when they have taken a lot of time to talk to you seriously about the subject and demonstrate that they truly understand the importance. To start, you place a month limit, but extend this deadline as needed. You got to educate them on cyberbullying. You got to find articles and information on cyberbullying and read through them with your child. And afterwards, ask them to reflect on why they did it. You got to address the victim and their parents. It's important here to understand the spectrum of effects on cyberbullying may take on an individual, and it's really, really vast. So, for this reason, you got to do additional research or consult a professional in the field about how to do this. There's some, initial guidelines. You can call or write a letter to the parents to apologize for what has happened. Tell them you do not expect them to forgive your child, and don't expect this. Tell them that you're taking this very seriously and taking serious actions. Don't involve your child in the initial apology. Victims can express this apology as a threat, and it may be several months before this apology can be given. Kids who are cyberbullied, As I mentioned, the chances are